Hi, this is Carl from CY Fitness. What we're going to look at today is a bit of nutrition. We're going to do a zone-based meal, which is breaking food down into blocks. We're going to look at 30 blocks of protein here, which will be apportioned over 6 days. So each meal is going to be a 5-block meal. That suits someone who is a reasonably large male, athletic male. If you're smaller, if you're female, whatever, you need to work out how many blocks you need. So it can be anything from 2 through to 5 generally. So as I say, this is 30 blocks. You can break it down however you want. It's really easy. All it is just a little bit of preparation, hour and a half of cooking, and then you're done. Everything's cooked for the week. So what we're going to look at here is the basic ingredients. So we have, as much as possible, get free-range organic foods. So we've got a kilo of free-range organic beef here, which should be around about 24 blocks. We've got about 250 grams of free-range pork, which should be about 6 blocks. Okay, so that goes in nice and easy. We're just going to mix that up a little bit, and then we're just going to add everything else that we need. So first of all, what goes in is a little bit of salt, sea salt from Essex, as everything good is. Everything good comes from Essex. We've got a nice amount of ground black pepper. Keep it as coarse or as fine as you like. I quite like it nice and chunky. Then we're going to put in a bit of paprika. You want probably a good teaspoon, but again, it's all really down to personal preference how much you put in. I like quite a bit. In it goes. Now the next few things we've got going in, this is all protein so far, the next few things we've got going in are technically carbohydrates. So if you're eating for fat loss, you will want to look online. I'll include a block breakdown at what the values are here, so you know you're not eating too many carbs in your diet, so you can be quite sort of specific about it. I'm not that bothered. I eat more for just basically for energy, for working out, that sort of thing. I don't really care about fat myself, so I'm not including these, but you may want to have a look and be a little bit more specific about it. So in here we've got medium-sized onion, 3 cloves of garlic, very finely chopped. That all just goes in. They're all uncooked. It'll all cook in the oven, so just whack that in. I've got about a cupful here of capers and sun-dried tomatoes. Again, this is all down to preference. You can have it quite bland and keep these out, but I quite like the extra flavour that they give, so again, that all goes in. About half a cup to a cup of sultanas and dried apricots. Again, this is my personal preference. I want a little bit more carbohydrate in mine, so I've included this, plus I quite like the sweet sort of flavour with the meat, because I don't really eat much sweet stuff, so I always put it into here. So that goes in. Then the only other thing that we need to add at this point is a spoonful, about a teaspoonful of mustard. You can add a bit more if you like mustard. I'm not a massive fan of mustard, so I only put a little bit in. And then the one other thing, again, you've got a couple of choices here. You can put tomato paste or ketchup if you prefer the taste of ketchup. I generally put ketchup in because it's just got a slightly better flavour, really. So that is everything. So what's gone in here, just to recap: a kilo of grass-fed beef, 250 grams, of free-range pork, 1 onion, 3 cloves of garlic, salt, pepper, paprika to taste, however much you want, half a cup of dried apricots and sultanas, 1 cup of sun-dried tomatoes and capers, and a large teaspoon or dessert spoon of mustard and ketchup. Okay, so there's all our ingredients, all just chopped, tipped in, all raw at the moment. So now the fun bit, all you got to do is mix that up. So just basically get your hands in. You can make your hands a little bit wet if you want to just get them under the tap, and that will stop everything sticking a little bit. But to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter too much. Just get your hands in there and just mix it up as much as you can. And all we're going to do here is just make sure that everything is all squeezed in together, so that when we cook, everything's quite evenly passed through. You can spend as much time as you want on this, really. Now, as said before, what we've got in here is 30 blocks of protein. I haven't really gone into too much depth about the fat for one reason. When you actually cook this, one thing that's quite good is the fat kind of all cooks out a bit. So when you actually take the meatloaf out at the end, most of the fat will have gone. If you're really conscious about fat, that's one good reason for getting free range, because the fat will tend to be a lot healthier. If you're doing this on a budget and you're buying meat that is basically come from slightly dodgier farms, from feedlot sort of stuff, get rid of as much of the fat as you can, because it will be full of toxins. But if you're getting good free range stuff, you should be fine. So that should do all the mixing, and then literally what we're going to do is get your cooking container. So if you've got one big enough, you can put the whole thing in there once it's mixed. I tend to split it up for two, because that's actually quite a bit of food in there. So literally from here, all we're going to do, a big handful into your container, and then just pack it down, just to make everything nice and easy. So again, nice big handful, pack it down. Now normally while I've been doing this, I have the oven getting warm, getting ready. But it's quite a noisy oven, so I'll do that later. So pack that down. It'll shrink quite a bit when you're cooking, so you can pack it quite tall there. It's all packed in there, all ready. And then all we're going to do, the oven should be on around about 160, 170 Celsius. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this in covered in either baking paper, or what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go out short 1 second. We're going to cover it with a bit of foil just to stop it drying out. And we're going to put that in our preheated oven for an hour and 15 minutes. Hour and 15 minutes in, we're going to take that off and just let it cook without any covering for another 15 minutes. Then it's done. Here we are, an hour and a half later, with the finished article. So we've got the two portions just come out of the oven. As you can see, most of the fat has come out of those, so it's reasonably healthy actually. And if you look at these, you'll see that I've broken them up, cut them up into their portions, so roughly as equal as I could get it. And then one will do for tonight, one I'll put in the fridge for tomorrow. The other three will be wrapped, will go into the freezer, so that will take me through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, rest of the week. They'll actually keep in the freezer for at least 2 weeks, no problem at all. And then all you need to do is add the other constituents there. So it's a 5 blocks, how I've done it, of protein. If you break them up for a 3 block of protein, you're going to want 5 or 3 or 4, whatever, blocks of carbohydrate going with those. So that's just basically your vegetables, maybe a bit of rice, potato, something like that if you want that as well. And then the only other thing to bear in mind is getting 5 blocks of fat. There will be obviously some fat in here, but if you need to add a little bit to that, then we have one other option, which everyone should be doing anyway, and that is a little bit of fish oil, which you can just swig along with it. And there's your 5 blocks. Perfect.